I think it's like part of the app thing.
That's so cool. I didn't know they did like, what do you call them? Like, movable, like where the emoticons move. That's cute.
Yeah.
Oh, I'm so excited. I'm like so nervous and excited.
I think it's live. Okay, we're live. Yeah.
Awesome. Oh, I'm so excited.
Cool. Okay, should we begin?
Let's see. Well, my computer just decided to give me a rainbow. I guess that means that we're awesome and amazing like rainbows, but really that's not a good sign.
Okay, let me make sure. I think okay, we're live. And it's popping up when you talk and I talk, so we're good. Hi everyone.
Awesome. Perfect. I guess we'll just hang out here for a few minutes.
Yeah. Yeah, so we're going to start in a couple of minutes, give everyone a chance to join. But if you have any questions throughout the workshop, go ahead and use the chat box down below. And in the meantime, let us know who you are, introduce yourself, and just anything else you want to add.
Yeah, like where you're from. Like put in like what your name is, like where, where you're from. So we see like where everyone is. That's always cool.
Yeah.
Oh, I'm so pumped for this.
Me too.
I've never like co-hosted a hangout before, so this is fantastic.
We're feeling really legit right now.
Oh yeah, we feel like pretty legit.
Let's see. Let me see.
Yeah, everything's great on my end too. Like everything's right because I'm not like freezing up or anything.
No. Great. You sound great.
Good. That's like my worst fear. They're just like, but I would like log on and it wouldn't work if we go live and it wouldn't work. I was like, no, not at the beginning.
Awesome. Cool. Monica, do you want to start off?
Oh yeah. All right. So I'll just say welcome everyone. I'm Monica. This is Ashley. We are so excited that you are here. I'm like squirming in my seat. All right. So first of all, if you have any questions, like definitely feel free to pop them in the chat. We may not answer them automatically, but we will get to them. That's what the chat's for. In the meantime, we are going to introduce ourselves and this workshop, so like what we're actually going to be talking about. So welcome to How to Get Road Ready. We're going to talk about minimalism, road life, and running your own location independent business. So even if you are not currently planning to get on the road, this workshop is for you. So obviously, if you are planning to live in your vehicle, this is totally for you. But even if you aren't and you're just looking for a simpler life or looking to pursue minimalism, this is definitely for you. So what we're going to be talking about today is the pros and cons of nomadic living. So is living from your vehicle or in an RV really right for your life, for what you want? And Ashley herself can really speak to this because she's done this. So we will get her experience, which I'm super excited to hear her talk about. We're also going to talk about how to take steps today to get road ready. So both Ashley and I are really interested in steps that are super implementable so that you don't have to sit on your hands and wait for someday, but we really want to get your adventure started today, so will be enabled to do that. We're also going to talk about how to identify what you need to bring with you and what you can leave behind. So we're going to talk about necessity versus happiness factor, and but yeah, we'll get into that later, but yeah, we're going to talk about that. And then this I'm really excited about. Ashley's going to share some simple steps to figure out your finances before quitting your 9-to-5 and hitting the road. This is super important for the longevity of your life adventure and actually living on the road and surviving and even thriving on it. So yeah, super excited to talk for that. And finally, and really most important, we're going to talk about how to make the most of the road once you're on it. So how to stay happy with this lifestyle, how to transition long-term into this lifestyle. So does that sound good? Yeah, I think it does. So I think I got everything.
Awesome, yeah.
So Ashley, you want to introduce yourself, and then I will introduce myself.
Sure. So I'm Ashley, and I'm the creator of Work from the Road, a new community and resource center for those interested in starting their own businesses and living life on the road. For the last 7 years or so, I've been trying to make the road work for me in a bunch of really weird, random ways. I bought a trailer on Craigslist for $50 and turned that into a mobile vintage store, and toured down the West Coast with that. I have been a tour manager for nonprofits and traveled around the country doing speaking tours. And finally, I found something that is kind of my sweet spot, which is tour managing a band to get my road fix, and then working as a virtual assistant to be able to have a stable and secure income when I'm with the band and also when I'm back home. And I wish that a resource like this existed when I first started my road journey, so I created it. It's a place for us to share what we've learned and provide places for people to get more resources. And we'll have courses like this and workshops and blog posts. So we're really excited about this new community because the road is more fun with co-pilots and friends. And I'm so excited you guys are all here, and I'm super excited for this workshop. And yeah, Monica, I'll let you introduce yourself.
Yeah. All right, sounds good. Well, hello. I'm Monica of Budget Bohemian, and I am a capsule wardrobe expert and boho stylist. And basically what I do is I teach you how to build your own bohemian capsule wardrobe so your mornings are less stressful and you have more time to practice self-care versus wondering what the heck to wear. I'm also a tea freak. As you can see, I'm like always drinking tea. And my backstory with capsule wardrobes is that I have chronic illness, PCOS, it's polycystic ovarian syndrome. And I also live with anxiety and depression. And mornings are just not always the best time of day for me. And to help me get up in the morning to actually start my day positively, I started building capsule wardrobes so I could just simply not worry about getting ready, and I could, sip tea and read a book before starting my day. And today I share that with you guys in my program and community, Build Your Boho Capsule Wardrobe, which is a step-by-step guide to building your own capsule wardrobe in a bohemian style. So that's me, and that is what I do.
Awesome. Cool. So I just want to go over, we talked about the workshop, but I'll get a little bit about the system and the style and form of it. So we'll take about the next 40 minutes to kind of share what we're teaching about, which is the first steps of road life. So figuring out if it's right for you, how to prepare and downsize your closet, life, and business for your new nomadic lifestyle. And road life is really synonymous with minimalism. So like Monica said, even if you're not thinking about hopping in a van right now, this workshop will still be totally beneficial for you. So we'll have the 40 minutes of chatting. We'll do a Q&A afterwards. And as I said before, you can comment in the chat below any questions you might have, and we'll answer those as we go. And if we miss any, then we'll be sure to catch those at the end with the Q&A. So let us dive in. I'm going to set up our slides, but Monica will chat with you a little bit about what we're going to be talking about next.
Yeah. All right. So basically, kind of the first thing you want to think about is the nomadic life for you, right? So the nomadic lifestyle isn't for everyone. And we're going to talk about the pros and cons of working from the road, living on the road, so you can really discover if this is right for you. It's definitely not, as Ashley was talking about to me earlier, like before we started this workshop, it's definitely not what all the pretty Instagram sunset pictures portray it to be. Obviously there are sunsets involved, but it's not always exactly what you'd expect. And then, oh, Ashley, okay, so what did you call it? You called it, so instead of pros and cons, you talked about
we're good
and challenges.
Exactly. Yeah, I prefer to call them perks and challenges rather than pros and cons, just because I think there's a little more positive outlook on it. And I don't know if you can, oh, it looks like everyone can see my screen. Awesome.
Yeah, I can see it. Looks great.
Cool. So we'll just hop right into the perks, which is the might as well start with the best first. So
Yeah.
obviously, perks of nomadic life is it's super exciting, rewarding, and enriching and fulfilling for the right personality type. There's nothing quite like traveling in a van. The amount of experiences you can fit into a single day or even a week-long road trip makes your life feel so much richer. One of my favorite bands is called Kithkin, and they have a line in one of their songs that says, "Life is long, but it feels short when you go to bed and go to work." And I really, really resonate with that, and I sing that like all the time when I'm on the road because the road seems, you can just fit so much in. And then when I'm back home and working in a 9 to 5, I'm like, where did those 3 months go? But so that's a really amazing part of road life. And another perk is that you really can wear whatever you want, and you can also be the master of your own domain. Whether you can go wherever you want, you can have your own schedule, and you can just have that freedom and flexibility that a lot of people crave.
Yeah.
And it's a great nudge to live simply. So having a limited amount of square feet allows you to question what's really important to carry with you. And every time you go on the road, we'll be talking more about this in depth in a minute. But it's just a great, when you only have, a certain amount of space, you can only carry a certain amount of things, which really makes you question what you really need and what you really value. And it's also very budget friendly. We'll go over this more in detail as well, but living on the road is often much cheaper than a stationary lifestyle. And even if you aren't able to completely replace your 9 to 5 income while you're on the road, you'd be surprised at how little overhead you need while actually traveling.
Which is
awesome. Yeah, it's awesome. And even though sometimes it seems like, oh, I'm spending like $600 a month in gas, like you're not paying for a $1,200 apartment anymore. And it kind of like, we'll go over that a little bit later. Monica, do you have anything to add about the perks?
Oh yeah. I just wanted to talk to the point you brought up about being able to wear whatever you want. And I mean, obviously, this is what I love to talk about, clothes. But basically, like, my philosophy with clothing is that it's actually really important because it expresses who you are as a person, right? And then when people first meet you, their first impression of you is not only your clothes, obviously, it's like your body posture and your expression, but your clothes send a message to people, and your daily outfits are a projection of who you are, right? And so one of the first things I ask my clients and the people who have gone through my course is, what are your 3 image words? Like, how do you want the world to perceive you? Like, what do you want to project? And what's really fantastic about living on the road is you're living and dressing on your own terms. So you don't have to, listen to like a corporate dress code or an academic, I guess, dress code. Is there an academic dress code? I don't know. But you know what I'm saying? Like, you don't have to follow anybody's dress code. Especially also if you're running your own business. Ashley and I can tell you, like, we kind of just wear what we want, and that is just such a freedom in and of itself, which is just really fantastic. So I definitely put that under a huge perk of living on the road.
Cool. Awesome. So now we'll go into some of the challenges on the road. So if it's your first time living on the road, or even if you've lived in a house for a while, changing into a nomadic lifestyle is just hard. Downsizing from a house to a van is difficult, and you're giving up a lot of the security that you have with having, walls and a mailbox and friends that are nearby if you ever need anything. And it can take some adjusting, and it can feel super lonely, especially if you're traveling alone or to places you haven't been before. And I call this a challenge more than a con, because I think that the challenge of pushing yourself out of your comfort zone in the end is generally a good thing, but there's definitely going to be moments where you feel isolated and you feel like, why did I ever? That happens almost every trip I go on. It's worth it. The challenge is in friends. So road life in general just takes a little more attention. And if you're used to seeing people or at dinner parties or church, wherever that might be, it'd be traveling. So ways that I've combated that is by getting everyone's mailing address. So when I'm at And also putting friends on speakerphone when you're driving long stretches of distance allows you to have like really great catch-up time. You typically have a lot of good stories. Yeah, and let's see, not having enough space for everyone. And I know that Monica more on that if you wanted to.
Oh yeah. So on the point of sorry. You know, the fact that minimalism isn't for everyone is true. So it's not something you want to force yourself into, but I think there is a real fear of having less that is ultimately unfounded. It's actually really surprising how happy you can be with less. When you strip down your possessions, your closet, your knickknacks, whatever, you strip down to the bare necessities. From there, you find it really easy to find the few items that you need for happiness as well. So it's kind of like if you only need like one t-shirt for every day, it's 7 t-shirts. That's kind of like the bare minimum, right? To be like clean and presentable. But most of us aren't happy with just 7 t-shirts, but you'll find that maybe you only need like 3 extra to keep yourself happy. And there's a real lightness to just having less. So even if it feels scary to let go of things, you're kind of like, well, what if I need that in the future? I just like challenge you to really try it. It's really freeing. And while it may not be for everyone, I think you can make it work for you. So yeah, back to you, Ashley.
Awesome. Yeah, and I think another challenge is just overwhelm and burnout, and that's really a common feeling, and it's often a symptom of poor planning and unrealistic expectations. So if you think you can fit in four hours of work and then 9 hours of driving in one day, that's going to lead you to be burnt out super quick. I've made that rookie mistake so many times. And really, we'll talk about this a little bit later, but it's really to combat that, just like to take it slow and plan your route in a way that you are enjoying yourself. And it doesn't mean because you're on the road that you need to be covering crazy long distances all the time.
Yeah.
And then another challenge is just adjusting to productivity. You have to be a little bit more laser focused because you only have Wi-Fi for certain times, depending on the route that you're traveling. So when you log onto your computer, watching BuzzFeed videos a bunch and browsing Facebook takes up way more time than you think. And so one of the best ways I've found to combat that is really just to have a plan before you even open your laptop and before you even get those tabs open. Because if you just know exactly, like, I'm going to go into my Gmail, I need to answer these 7 emails, and then I need to put up this blog post, and then I'm going to shut my computer and get on the road, or shut my computer and start my hike. So really figuring out what you need to do, and not just like spending mindless hours on your computer.
And if I can just jump in here real quick, like what you just said is gold. Okay, it's like it doesn't matter if you're never gonna live in a van. Like, that is gold. Like, it's amazing how much time you can spend not doing what you need to do when running your own business. And what you just said about having a plan before you open your phone or laptop, that's gold. Yes, do it. Because otherwise it's amazing. You lose 3 hours and you didn't do anything. Yeah.
Totally. And I think going off of that is, like, if you are running your own business on the road, you're your own boss. But even if you're just going for fun, you're still like your own boss of your life, and you don't have someone overseeing you and managing you and making sure you're using your time productively. So you kind of have to step outside of yourself. And even though it's easy to get into like a Facebook hole, like, is that really fulfilling, like, for your life? And then another challenge is just living in public. I can't count the amount of times I've taken McDonald's with people looking at me weird, or washing my hair in a Starbucks sink, which Starbucks are like the best place to shower. Found that the reliable Wi-Fi and sticking to those when you have hard deadlines is important.
Yeah.
I am a proponent of like cool coffee shops and finding the unique spaces in each town. But sometimes, Starbucks and McDonald's have really solid Wi-Fi all the time. And like, you can kind of figure out the places that really work for you. And also you want to get out there. You want to get out there and really experience places, but when you need to put in those like 8-hour days at a coffee shop, sometimes it's really best to just like hole up at a chain. Mm-hmm.
Woo. I think we may be cutting out a little bit.
Screen?
I don't know if you, I can see your screen. I didn't hear you for a second, but I don't know. I can hear you now. So
great. Living in the public is hard sometimes, but you kind of have to have no shame and just hole up at the McDonald's for 4 hours if you have like a really big project you need to get done.
Oh yeah, get it done.
Cool. So
yeah, you sound good now, I think.
Cool. I think we had a little technical challenge, but now we're up. So now those are kind of the perks and the challenges of living on the road. And now we're going to jump into like the meat of it all, which is the 5 steps we have for downsizing and prepping your mindset and your possessions and your business for the road.
Oh, hell yeah. All right. So I'll just jump in here with step 1, which is make it real, right? So this means like really committing to yourself, committing to this dream, and start talking to your friends, right? So it's interesting how just saying, like talking out loud about your dream project to like your best friend or your mom or whoever you like to talk to, it's amazing how from there the possibilities expand, right? Because when your friends know that you want to pursue a dream, they can help you with it. So I think, actually, didn't you say like you told a few of your friends that you were looking to find a camper or something like that?
Yeah. So what happened?
Didn't you?
Yes, totally. So what happened with me is I on the internet that did a mobile vintage store, and I was like, I want to own a mobile vintage store. And like, I didn't have a trailer yet. I didn't even know where to look, but I just started telling people like, I'm starting my own mobile vintage store. And then I didn't have the trailer. I didn't have anything ready yet, but people were like, oh, she's doing that. And then it's amazing when you put yourself out that, and it's, and people would reach out to me and be like, oh, my friend is already running a mobile vintage store. You should connect with her because you both do the same thing. Even though like I don't really do it yet. But if you say like, I'm going on the road, or like by July.
Yeah, you just make it happen. I think like what you said about manifesting is true, right? I think you cut out again, maybe, but yes.
Really?
The point remains that, manifesting is a real thing, right? If you set yourself up for success, so you start looking for a trailer, you start looking for whatever you want. Like in my case, I started my business by setting up an Instagram account, and that was just what I did. I just went ahead and I said, I am offering this program, right? Like, so the Build Your Boho Capsule Wardrobe program. So I was just like, this is real, like this is it. And I just grew a community through Instagram, through Facebook, just by saying like, I am offering this thing, even though the program wasn't even finished yet. I mean, it's finished now. We just finished launching it for the first time, and people actually signed up, which I was so happy about. And now we're going to get them their perfect boho capsules of their own so they can spend more time in the morning practicing self-care. So I'm so grateful about that. But like the point remains, like if you commit to yourself and you're like, this is my dream, this is what I want to do, how do I start right now today in, you know, pursuing that? And one of the things you can do is tell your friends so they can tell their friends and their family, and it really snowballs from there. And I think the number one point here is networking is so valuable. Just, it's so valuable.
Totally.
I think I can hear you, Ashley. Yeah.
Awesome.
Yeah.
That sounds great. Cool. So the next step is to really figure out what you're working with. And I like to think of it in terms of, it's called reverse engineering. So like you start with the end product, or the end like container in which you will have all the things. So whether that's your vehicle or your storage space, or however much space you're going to have. So for example, I travel in a car in a Toyota Yaris with my boyfriend, and that car is about the size of a VW, very small. Obviously what I had to take changed a lot from when I had a van and a 12-foot trailer.
Heck yeah.
So that was, so it's kind of figuring out what space you're working with, and then you can figure out exactly how much you need to take or can't take. Tour managing a band a day and a suitcase to last me for the next 4 months. So that was even smaller than when I was in the Yaris. So really figuring out what space you're working with is going to help you a ton. When you're downsizing, Monica can definitely speak more about this, but a trick that I've found is if you can't afford a storage unit, or calling your mom up, if you have those kind of relationships and those resources, like totally use them to your advantage. And Monica, I'll let you speak more about the downsizing, because that's what you're an expert in.
Oh yeah. So thank you. So part of my course actually focuses on closet clean out, right? So cleaning out your closet without stress, and which is obviously downsizing. And I think one of the first things that you need to do is, again, ask your friends for help. Join a community, because obviously, like, I have, started a community. I'm growing a community based on supporting each other through closet clean out and building capsule wardrobes. But I think like just inviting a friend over to help you simplify is just incredibly valuable. Because it can be really overwhelming and a kind of emotional process. I think one of the most common questions I get is, how do I let things go? Right? It's like as simple as that. People are like, they don't even know what they need, and you may like relate to this as well. So it's just like, how do I know what do I need, and how do I let go of the things that I don't want? And two things. One is remembering, like I said earlier, about your image, like how you want to project yourself. Like, how do you want to feel every day? Do you want to feel confident every day? Do you really want to present yourself the way you're currently presenting yourself? And if you're not happy with that in the current moment, then that's kind of like a catalyst for change, right? And then second is freedom. And I mean, Ashton and I have been talking about this already today, but like the freedom that you get with having less and being able to fit everything in a vehicle and just drive away to whatever place you want to go to is just awesome. And I can't what's the word I'm looking for? I can't say how valuable it is to feel free. So how do you let things go? to simplify your stuff, give yourself time to clean out. Take it one room at a time, right? So obviously that would, like, your closet would count as a room, right? But if you need to downsize your entire place, if you're moving into a van, an RV, whatever, take the kitchen, then the living room, then your bedroom, etc. And really budget time, just like you would budget money, budget time. Because if you rush, you may get rid of things that then you'll find you may need, or vice versa, you'll keep stuff that you don't really care about. So giving yourself time gives yourself clarity, right? Emotional and mental clarity to let go of the things that you don't really need. So because you'll see that you don't really need them if you are cleaning out in a state of rest, right? Oh yeah, and then like I was saying earlier, start with the bare essentials, right? So what do you need to literally survive? 2 pairs of pants, 7 t-shirts, a dress, and shoes, and pajamas, etc. And from there, branch out to what you need for happiness. So like your happiness essentials, because the framework of what you need is there in necessity. What I mean by that is you'll know exactly what you need bare minimum by looking at what your bare minimum needs are, right? But you can pack more than that, most likely. And from there, you want to focus on your image words and your dream of freedom to really show you like what is the happiness value you're going for. Does that make sense? Ashley, do you want to?
Totally. That makes a lot of sense. And something else I know Monica and I have talked about in the past is that I travel with, some things are definitely not necessary, but like I love them and they bring me a lot of happiness. For example, I have a little red box that I keep my watercolors in, my journal, like all of these little things that technically I could have more space and I could save the space. But I want to keep those. So exactly what Monica's saying is that keep the things that you love, have the things that you need, but totally like if you're not ready to give up your favorite journal or all of that, like keep them and have them. And then you want to make sure there's also this fine line between, there's kind of like 2 debates in like the road minimalism realm, I would say. Like one is you take less than you need, or you take that you can always buy things on the way.
Yeah.
Or you take what you need, and then if you have too much of it, you can like kind of, however, it's really it really you are. If you feel like I only need 3 shirts, and then you're like, shoot, I need 2 more shirts. There's stores all around. You can buy some. Just how you are and how you work. And
yeah, like your art box, I actually have books that I always try.
So the 4th step is the big.
Oh, you're fine. I was just gonna say like just a little like anecdotal thing. Like I have a few like favorite books that I love to travel with. There's like one that's like a first edition, and I don't know, like other ones have like sentimental value. There's not a lot of them, but like I mean, do you need to pack books? No, I mean that's what like your phone is for, and like your Kindle and stuff, right? It's more quote unquote practical to use electronics for like books and magazines and stuff. But like my like happiness necessities include my books, right? And as you said, Ashley, too, I have a special journal, right? And again, do you need those things? Maybe not, but for happiness value, yes. Yeah, I was just gonna say that.
Totally. And all right, moving on. Before we move on to the next step, I just wanted to welcome Ariel. She said she's a little late, but she wanted to say hi and that she loves the idea of budgeting your time. Great advice. I totally agree. Ariel, if you have any questions throughout this, feel free to hop into the chat and answer anything, and we'll also be doing a Q&A at the end. So Next step is to create a budget. So this is like definitely the non-glamorous side of it, but it's so critical. Knowing your numbers is such a big thing. I don't know if if any of you kind of go off of intuition with your bank account sometimes, or like, I feel like I have enough money to get by, which like isn't the total best way. Like it's not the most legitimate way of accounting. And so what I did before I went on the road is I have a stationary budget and a travel budget. So with my stationary, when I was doing a lot of my like intuitive accounting, if you will, and I pulled up the last like 3 months, and some people might have something like Mint, or you need a budget, which are budgeting apps that like pull in all of your for all of your different cards. Those things are like kind of stressful for me, so I just put them in like a boring spreadsheet. And in the spreadsheet columns, so I'll print out like my Bank of America transactions, and I'll pull up the date, the transaction, how much it was, and in a category. So, and then I'll rent, and it was like, I don't know, I live in, so I pay like $1,400 a month for rent. It's ridiculous. So on there, I wrote down all of my expenses and gave them all a category. And then after that, I sorted them by category, and then I highlighted the ones in red that I wouldn't need when I was on the road. So for example, $1,400 when I'm on the road. So I was able to cross that out. And when I moved up, which is the traveling budget, I was able to kind of see what I was working with before, so I could create a budget framework, if you will. And then in the track, I could see like, okay, I don't need to spend money on rent, but I do need to spend money on gas. So then kind of figuring out that stuff.
Yeah.
So really knowing how much you're spending on what in your stationary life is going to help you figure out your travel budget and what you can afford to spend. Something that is also huge in this part are thinking of starting your own business. You don't necessarily need to be replacing your 9-to-5 income to have a life on the road. So your might be way more when you're in your stationary life than in your road life. Most likely the answer to that is yes. Your stationary expenses are higher than living on the road. If you're so really figuring out that kind of stuff is really critical. And then if you're figuring out that you only need 1/3 of your life on the road, then that puts a lot less pressure on you when you're trying to like start the new clients and getting work in and really figuring out that. So it's always going to be a balance of this delicate balance of, you know, how much money you have in the bank, how much money do I need to save, do I need more clients? It's always going to be present, but it's a lot less stressful if you're really clear on your numbers, because knowing your numbers is crucial and important. And I'm actually working on, it's not ready yet, but we'll send it to you when it's ready. I'm working on a spreadsheet for this, so you'll have calculators and templates and all of that. So I'll definitely be sending that to all of you when it's here, so you can kind of just like plug in your numbers and see where you're at.
I want it.
And also what Monica was saying as well is in creating a financial budget, also creating a time budget. Like I said before, you can travel those 8 hours and then work at a coffee shop for 4 hours, but you're gonna not like your life. And something that I do as a tour manager for a band, which might be helpful for you, is we kind of and our drive time and our work time. We need them to get to the venue by 3 p.m. and you can kind of treat yourself because you are.
Oh, did you cut out? Can anybody hear us? Oh, I hear you now. That's weird.
I can hear you. Okay.
I can hear you.
Okay.
Hey Ariel, if you're still
Awesome.
here,
Okay, well, I
freaking
think I'm gonna just so if you can hear me, we're gonna keep going up number 5. It looks like our little thing might have cut out, but Monica talked a little bit more about it, but really remembering your why and starting slow. So if you want to take that away.
Oh yeah. So remembering your why is super important to avoid burnout, right? It's not about the mileage. Ultimately, being on the road is about enjoying your experience, right? So I think there's a lot to be said for focusing on enjoying a smaller amount of geography over visiting as many states as possible if you like live in the US. Because I've read a lot of stories from people who are kind of like the ex-nomads or whatever, and they're kind of almost like angry about, or maybe disgruntled is a better word. They're like disgruntled about their nomadic experience because they just ended so burnt out that the whole experience kind of got tarnished for them. And I have definitely felt burnout on the road. And I think the most important takeaway that takeaway that I have, that's a phrase, right? Yeah. Is to enjoy the experience, right? To focus on the experience, on slow living, and remember why you started this in the first place. Maybe did you want more freedom? Did you want to see more places? If so, if you wanted to see more places, can you do it slower so you don't get burnt out, you know? Pick maybe one state at a time. It depends on the size of the state, obviously, but pick one state and really explore it before you move on. And Ashley, I'm sure you can speak to this as well. But it's just slow living is so important for minimalism, for capsule wardrobe building, and for entrepreneurial adventures as well. Taking it slow, appreciating what you have. It goes for all aspects of what we're talking about. So yeah, Ashley?
And I have a pretty real recent example of this. My partner and I, we started on our road trip in a little car, and we did probably, we went from to Utah to 3 days. It was intense. Also, we were angry at each other. We didn't want to talk to each other. We were on edge. And then finally, I was like, I love the road and I love you. What is going on? And then we kind of realized, oh, we did this way, and we aren't stopping at roadside. We aren't stopping at the largest ball of yarn because we feel like we have to cover all this mileage, when really those quirky roadside stops and all those things are really what makes the trip so great. But we kind of have this moment of oh, we can go slower, and it's going to be okay, and it's even going to be better, because it doesn't matter if you're covering that much distance. All you're doing is sitting in a car and listening to podcasts, which is cool, but you can also do that on your 9 to 5 on your commute. It's the moments that happen outside of the car or that are really the ones that are meaningful. So that's a huge thing. I think that starting slow and just really focusing on your why as well, I think is really important. That it's easy. You can go back to life. You can go back to your stationary life whenever you want. And I never would want to people to feel like they should stick it out, because they don't want to feel like they've failed if they don't. But just really focusing on your why and remembering that you came out here for a reason, and that growth is challenging sometimes, and the road is challenging sometimes, but looking back on it, you're going to have really incredible experiences. And the same goes for starting your own business. It's so much easier to work for someone else, and it's so much easier to live in a house. Those things are true. And we don't we don't do these kind of things because they're easy. And also similar to capsule wardrobes, like it's easier to just mindlessly buy things because that is what society tells us to do. And they tell us to like have our 401k and all of these things, which are important, but there's just different ways to live life, and really living life on your own terms, I think, is a huge takeaway for road life and also for capsule wardrobes.
Oh yeah, absolutely. I think there's a lot to be said for following your own path and staying true to it too. And there's actually one thing that came to mind when you were talking, Ashley, as I was thinking about, I promised myself that I would take it slow enough to be able to take 5 pictures a day, right? So like, cause like I noticed for myself, like if I was rushing through everything, I wasn't taking pictures. So like the days I didn't take pictures, I was like stressed out of my mind. And so I was like, okay, I need to slow down and, you know, take a picture of that sunset, or I'm going to stop at this really beautiful view and, you know, have the husband take a picture or whatever. You know, I think taking the time to take pictures is not only will you thank yourself later, but it's kind of like a physical guideline, you know, or not physical, what is the word I'm looking for, you know, like a tangible,
totally
it's a guideline for starting slow and focusing on your why.
Yeah, and something else I want to share, you can see my face now again, I think, because we're done with our presentation, but a really big thing I wanted to share going off of that is that my friend Liz and I, when we were traveling in the trailer, it's very easy to live on the road and just live through your screen. Having your Google Maps, your phone has the answers to everything. It has the answers to where the coolest like coffee shop might be and where, like how to get places, but really we realized that we weren't talking to anyone on our trip and we weren't connecting with people. And that really came to a head at Joshua Tree, where we're like, we hadn't made any friends yet, and we've been on the road for like 2 months. So we were in a campground and we hand wrote little invitations for a tea party that we were gonna have. And we walked around the campsite, like the campsites, and we're like, hey, we're having like a little fire pit tea party later tonight. And it was really scary, and it's way out of our comfort zone, because we would have just like been like surfing on Instagram and gone to bed and woke up and left. And then that night, like 12 people from the campground showed up, and they had guitars and whiskey, and like it was amazing. And we had like really great friends from that moment. So I think that that's another thing that we hadn't really touched on, but like remembering your why, and having those like connecting with people that you may not have become friends with before is like a really big why for me. But it's often it's scary. So like how you had the tangible number of like, I take 5 pictures, like make one new friend every day or something like that can really help you break out of your shell, because it's easy to kind of close up and like stay in your car, stay in the routine that you get in on the road.
Absolutely. I love that. That's actually one of my whys for my business too. I just love meeting new people, but it's sometimes really hard. So it is scary, but it's like a really strong motivation ultimately. Because I mean, you don't want to be alone. You want to meet people who have, you know, similar interests to you, and it's so rewarding ultimately. Push past the fear and do it, because it is so rewarding. Even if it's just like walking down to your local coffee shop and saying hi to someone, you know, you don't need to be, you know, 1,000 miles from home to do it. So absolutely. Totally. I love that.
Yeah. And I wanted to throw it to the chat and see if there's any questions. We're kind of now in our Q&A portion.
I actually had a question for you. I was thinking, I was like, okay, so this is a question actually I've had for ages, but I'm like, okay, like I've never been totally nomadic, so I've always had like a PO box, or like not a PO box, I mean a postal address, you know, like a house address, right? I could send things to, even if it was, you know, not like technically mine. And so what do you do when you are like full-time nomadic, like how do you do like the whole postal, you know, because you know a lot of places ask for your address and like you know, credit cards, stuff like that.
Totally. So I'm kind of going through a transition in that right now. Like I said before, I've had no shame in asking friends for help. So I had been using a friend's address and getting a lot of my stuff shipped to them. But I have a lot of nomadic friends as well, and almost all of my friends have moved. So now I'm like doing the more adult thing, which is getting a traveling mailbox. And so what happens is it's in Seattle, and it's this company called Traveling Mailbox, and I think they're all over the country, but the mail gets shipped to them, and then they scan the outside of the envelope, and then they email it to you, and you get like a certain amount of free opens per month, and then so you can be like junk mail. Oh, like I need to read the insides of that. So then they open it up and scan it for you and send it to you, and then if you want something forwarded to you, then they can forward it to wherever you are in the country. So
that is awesome. Oh, that's
yeah.
so cool. I didn't know that existed.
Yeah, it's super cool. It's called Traveling Mailbox. Pretty straightforward.
And then like, let's say you're, okay, I don't know why I thought of this, but let's say you're in like Illinois or something, and you got like a package sent to you in your traveling mailbox in Seattle. So like, how would you get it sent? Like, can you like, I've always wondered this. Can you like ask a hotel to have something shipped to them or something, and you just show up and pick it up? Like, how do you do that?
Yeah, so I've never done it to a hotel. I know you can, but I've normally am like kind of plan out my route and like, okay, and I give it more space than it would need. So if I have a credit card that's coming in and it sucks to be waiting on mail. Like you want to keep going and you're waiting on mail. So I always give myself some breathing room. So get it a couple cities ahead than I expect. That way, so I can just be waiting either at a hotel or at a friend's house. I'm fortunate enough to know a lot of friends through my travels across the country that are more than happy to hold a little piece of mail. Then when I come see them, I can grab it. Super nice. But yeah, if you want to go like the no extra support, definitely like a traveling mailbox and shipping it to hotels, you just have to call them and ask. They're normally pretty receptive to that.
Okay, cool.
Yeah.
Awesome. I'm just checking to see.
Yeah, and I had a question for you as well.
Cool. What is it?
So I have been wondering, like, and we've talked about this a little bit before too, but I would love to kind of bring it up here, is that with capsule wardrobes, there's such a, like, and ethical fashion, there's such a high price tag to it that it sometimes is inaccessible to people. And I know we've talked about it before, but I just want to kind of hear and have you share, like, how do you do this kind of capsule wardrobe and investing in really classic, well-made pieces that on a budget? Because a lot of people, if they have a road budget, especially, like, aren't making the type of money to drop $400 in a really nice jacket or something.
Yeah. That is a great question, and I called my business Budget Bohemian for a reason.
Totally.
Well, first and foremost, I'm really into thrifting, right? You can find pieces that are either new with tags or barely used at thrift stores, right? So not only is it better for the planet if you shop secondhand, but it's better for your wallet. So not being afraid to buy secondhand is a big one. You can also shop online secondhand. A place that I love is ThredUp. That's THRED up. Not like thread as in like clothing thread. They're awesome. They're currently only they only ship to the US currently, which is kind of a bummer, but they're awesome. I have like some of my favorite jeans from them and stuff. So they're all almost brand new condition, if not brand new, and up to 90% off. So yes, capsule wardrobes on a budget, definitely thrifting. Second is actually shopping your own closet. There's a reason I have people pick their image words before cleaning out your closet. So you don't want to just like willy-nilly go through your closet and get rid of, like donate like 75% of what you own, and then realize that the stuff that you got rid of, you actually could have incorporated it into your new wardrobe, and there you have set yourself up to spend more money than you really needed to. So I actually have people pick out what colors they do not want, so you know exactly what you do not want in your wardrobe. But you also picked out your because your image boards are kind of like your general goal, or like a closet goal. So you know when you're sorting through your closet, like this just doesn't fit. You know, this polka dot thing is just not gonna fit my grunge boho rocker thing. It just isn't. So you know what I mean? You know to get rid of it, right?
Totally.
And let me think. Oh, there was another thing. I actually had another thought. Now I can't remember. Oh, right. Yeah. So this is another reason why I collected a coupon booklet for the people who take my program. So there's like a bunch of coupons to ethical brands, because like I really care about, you know, making capsule wardrobes available to everyone. Like, I mean, most people do not have, as you said, like $400 to drop on anything. I mean, they may not even have $400 to drop on their entire wardrobe, like, you know, and I want it to be accessible to everyone. And so, I'm still collecting, and I clicked coupons to ethical brands. So not only can you shop ethically, like social, how do you say that? Socially consciously? Whatever.
Maybe.
But also like wallet consciously. So it is totally possible. But it means that you don't just walk into the mall and buy willy-nilly. You may need to spend a little bit more time thrifting, but it's so rewarding and so worth it.
Yeah. Totally. And I think that's one of the reasons why I think you and I, we felt like we worked so well together in this webinar, was that both like capsule wardrobes and road life like might seem very random, but they all like they have so much overlap with being intentional and being it's like living your best life and getting to choose how you operate in the world. And I think that's like really huge. So
it's about living consciously. Yeah.
Exactly. So I think we're about to wrap up, and I just want to share with you guys a couple. You'll receive an email after this that'll have the replay to the webinar, and we both have Facebook groups. Mine is called Make #VanLife Your #RealLife, and it's all about people coming in who have road questions or want to talk about business on the road and all of that. So I'll be sending that your way. And then, Monica, if you want to talk about your community and any opt-ins or freebies you want to offer to them as well.
Oh yeah, so I have a Facebook community as well. It just almost like doubled this weekend, which was really cool. So it's called the Budget Bohemian Community, like really simple. I name all my things like really simple, boring names. And so it's a support group kind of / kind of networking to find people who will help you clean out your closet. I mean, obviously I will, but like, you know, you'll get people's input on their closet cleaning experience. I do exclusive live streams in the group, so I'll hop in there and hang out, share boho styling tips and ethical fashion tips, as well as capsule building and closet clean out tips. And it's a really, really fun place, and I like spend way too much time there. And you are welcome to join. So I guess Ashley, like, you'll include the link in the email, the follow-up email. Oh, I think you're silent, because I can see you moving, but I can't hear you.
Yes.
Yes. Okay. She said
Yes.
that was funny. And then oh yeah, and then the freebie I have is a 5-day closet cleanout guide. So it's a little tip that you can implement every day. The tip will take like no more than 10 minutes. And it's to help you prep your closet and your mindset for a no stress closet cleanout, because stress is kind of like the number one enemy to an effective simplification of your closet. So yeah, I share tips on how to not freak out. So yeah.
Yeah, that's awesome. Cool. I think that's everything. Are we all good?
I think so. Yeah.
Awesome. Thank you so much, everyone, for joining us. We had such a great time. Our first webinar. Woo! Yeah! And it was exactly 60 minutes. So proud of us.
At us.
Awesome. If anyone has any questions, you can find us in our Facebook groups, or you can email us. I'm at hello@workfromtheroad.co. And Monica, what's your email?
My email is monica@budgetbohemianblog.com.
Awesome. All right. We will see you guys on the road.
Yeah.